kazi nasikika. Hey yo mister, are you a member? Hey yo sister, wacha kulenga. Can't you see that I'm talking to you? Sasa weka mikono juu. Boom boom ba, boom 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 ba, boom boom ba. Ukikatika na hingoma, just be cool as a cucumber.
Alo name super fresh lakini
twende wewe yeye wewe vice versa vile wataka.
Mr. Brother, wacha kuzuba, ukisleki hautapata.
Fungua macho, floni yako, cheza wimbo kama ni wako, cheza wimbo kama ni wako, sababu huu wimbo ni wako.
Iza hatucheki na watu,
Nameless hatucheki na watu,
ma MC hatucheki na watu,
ogopa hatucheki na watu. Unahisi hizi flow za Afrika, unahisi kama unakatika. Can you feel this funk till the rear? Can you feel this up in here?
boom boom ba, boom 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 ba, boom boom ba. Ukikatika na hingoma, just be cool as a cucumber.
Na tumekuja kupati, ambia wenzetu samahani, hawako nasi na tuko nao, basi wametupa mbao. Sababu inabamba inashika, wingu la tisa inatufikisha, ukiachilia mahewa manze DJ unatubeba. Boom boom ba, boom 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 ba, boom boom ba, boom ba boom ba. Boom boom ba, boom 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 ba,
Boom boom ba. Ukikatika na hingoma, just be cool as a cucumber. Ukikatika na hingoma, just be cool as a cucumber.
Vicheko na baridi ya mapenzi. Holmes na mchizi wangu Jeff. Wapi kamwa. Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi la wenye imani na Mola limeshakita. Tumetuita rabani tukaitika, tayari mikakati nasi kuzisafisha. Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi la wenye imani na Mola limeshakita. Metuita rabani tukaitika, tayari mikakati nasi kuzisafisha. Jela pia ni fungwa, tena gereza mazingira hayajafunguka. Mpaka mbele kwa ataka mpunga, basi anakuruka tenta na kufunga. Mbele wama ama pia uone, lakini kumbona na weka press supplies mpaka zatoka walimu. Sababu taka lozi ya big supplies na gereza wala bora. Mambo ukipata pola Mario, silti maxima bila goals. Kuishi nao wana kucheza na kuda nao chani kiwa mpaka naleta za ukarao. Shakuliwa utu brother ukapishwa hataki kurutu. Nyanyaso na itikeli system kakufanya susu. Ni pesa kuli imekufanya bushu. Salimu amri, udano hayawani. Ndani ya smart confess nusu mtu nusu yani. Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi la wenye imani na Mola limeshakita. Metuita rabani tukaitika, tayari mikakati nafsi kuzisafisha. Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi la wenye imani na Mola limeshakita. Metuita rabani tukaitika, tayari mikakati nafsi kuzisafisha.
Just shit, the way you money, just shit, my money, just shit.
Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi na wenye imani na Mola limeshakita, metuita rabana tukaitika, tayari mikakati nafsi kuzisafisha, anaripoti na kuficha minofibaya waspendi za kutisha, kando yake mfulani haoni mchicha, unaomea sehemu yote ndani ya kuko shikaji, ananorote mwenda pole kufanya ziara na bidi hakikokote mwemteza hadi anaoza, wacha tuoze usigeuze mawazo na akili pia tupoze, temani shetani mfukuze, Mungu yuko baba, maneno yake usiapuuze, Mungu mfukuze, dirisha sikufunze, uchafu na ukatili tufahari ndio kukuze, kamili utu maskini na raha zake, vicheko na najera tajiri majozi kwake, usitamani matiro zake, una baraka zaidi yake, walosimake maikubao braza mengi na nukusi zake, cheki nendo yake, ushasikia vicheko kwake, kichungu yake pia nusiakwa kila zake, maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi na wenye imani na Mola limeshakita, metuita rabana tukaitika, tayari mikakati nafsi kuzisafisha. Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi na wenye imani na Mola limeshakita, metuita rabana tukaitika, tayari mikakati nafsi kuzisafisha.
Aneno nyako moro kae nyinge nga Atoti. To bendo nyalo mielo ngoma nyinge nga Atoti. To be onyalo miel koda nyinge nga Atoti. Atoti sudi kai mondi miel koda, yawa Atoti sudi kai monda miel kodi. Atoti lovely deadly nyakoni, iromo wiya. Atoti kiss me nyakoni, iromo miel. Atoti mix me fix me nyakoni, iromo pacha. Atoti take me nyakoni, iromo miel. Sudi miel koda, kikitumu kikitua mchonga, kikanyon teni, omewatere manamos mdogo nyako miel vile tunataka raka pinyi malu yengoga. Atoti nyonoga mosurundoga. Atoti yengoga mosuwenyoga. Atoti wekoga moseteroga. This way that way nyako do it my way. Atota ngoma timi. Atoti thumweri. Tobi kimosh bende mari. Tomaji bende duari. Atoti tinde kilari. Nikech maen miel maratoti. Nango Atoti nyonoga. Atoti yengoga. Atoti rundoga. Atoti winyoga. Atoti dakane kimielo gino. Yawa dakane kimielo gino. Pinye malo kakitinge. Mbele nyuma kakisude. Kando bate kakigwete. This way that way kakitere. Kakitinge itinge kakisude. Isude kakigwete. Igwete kakitere very good. The only face in Lake Victoria. Atotango, the only female on my email.
Pawa Radio. Power up.
So de this, so de that way. Chakiseka na kocha. Sitep na kone, asitanda na kocha. Mak nungo ni rundoga. Imak nungo na sodoga. Hansa kimbo nyako, teroga. Sitanda tenso nyako, winyoga. Kiss to the girl, nyodoga. Salute to the queen, yengoga. Otekoga, owekoga, nanga. Onyonoga, osungoga. Orundoga, owinyoga. Ondekoga, oyengoga. Okeloga, otieloga. Otuloga, otingoga. Kamata kanyaga, peleka tuende. Atoti right, left, to the center. Nikech maen miel maratoti. Nanga Atoti nyonoga. Atoti yengoga. Atoti
rundoga atoti winyoga atoti daka ne kimielo gino yawa daka ne kimielo gino pinyi malo kakitinye mbele nyuma kakisude kando bate kakigwete this way that way kakitere kakitinye kakisude kakigwete igwete kakitere very good guto nie mood mamielo bul karango koni arango ko who do I see atoti she's fine she whines she keeps her time she dances fine who do I see atoti rateng to ber lebe to ler ya bero comer who do I see atoti nikecho mielo gima mitna nikecho mielo kaka ber nato koso how wikimoch well maji chikiti maze mondi listen to me kayulo teri okiwinjo the name of atoti the dem to whom you blame kichako complain nini yonge game atoti is the first one to any kionjo kidwaro ndogo to any mudogo kidwaro motomoto to any mutoto to any mudogo to any mutoto atoti moto ndogo atoti kila kitu atoti mambo yote nikecho mielo mara atoti nango atoti nyonoga atoti yengoga atoti rundoga atoti winyoga atoti daka ne kimielo gino yawa daka ne kimielo gino pinyi malo kakitinye mbele nyuma kakisude kando bate kakigwete this way that way kakitere kakitinye kakisude kakigwete igwete kakitere very good Sima Wella
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
It's a beautiful morning. Something is definitely
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
Hello? Yeah. Hello? Good morning. Hello? Good morning. Let's get
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
IP, Waki Pop City, Ayo Dandogra, UK FLNI, Philosophy Sadi, Kulema Kasi creativity ndani ya poverty tungeendelea kupoteza masoja wetu kwa wizi na mada na kadhalika. Director, what is cinema? Poverty na him, hungry society, hip hop philosophy, wazimu sisi toka madharemento hawa tuelewi zaka na kaba tukoka anavotaka God hisi NGO mudhi wanafuga DOD kwa milango za ofisi sisi tutalea afisi kukiharibika nisha go missing polisi mbona wanihisi
Pawa Radio. Pawa. Right?
Sini tubako kichuwi misimusi za omisigusi kwa omisifiki wao hii muziki obviously ni shadharau system ya fobao saudi yao walifuza Simba Serengeti shule hosi tupo kamiti ishi na factory lazwali mochawi kabla hii safari usikwe nani ako tayari dandora ndiko sinema vipi man wacha wao kuje slow upate si tumeshavunja law tunaweza kuangazia wadogo kubwa mulikia wasije IBCD kutaka kuwa mabona bi wakumbuke hauni hii Babylon haitaki tulipe bills vyo vyote tuna manga still na skills ill tuna manga soul food for will MC Kaya skikao I pop city yo na noga UK double double pop city yo
mtaa. Sikiza hii kitu kwenye radio, ikibidi one time.
One, two. Power Radio. Sounds
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. I think that's it.
Ninataki mimi na namtaka tu haki, so lazima nimfanye awe my baby kirasmi. Mimi robana utungu si fall na manati manake insist at least to change my number. Hala back nikihala juma ushanipamba.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Good morning, world in Nairobi. This is Omondi Ochuka, and I'm your host today for the Power Morning Drive show. We started with a bit of a technical itch, so we really apologize for that. I don't know how you are doing. It's a very chilly morning. Are you keeping warm? Are you going to work? Are you still at home? Mnaenda farm ama form ni gani ukiwa maliuliko? Talk to us on X or Facebook at Power Morning Drive hashtag. I have a bit of stuff lined up for you, but I'm going to go straight to the headlines before we pick up the discussion of the day. On the Standard, we have school fees, why MPs oppose e-citizen way. Apparently, the government is thinking, now we're going to have just one single pay bill number pot. How ridiculous is that? And then we have on page 2, Commission of Governors says the high doctors' pay will hurt civil servants. Apparently, they're also saying, no way we're going to pay doctors that much. And then on page 3, you have Mukuni, Moi, and Buruburu Girls Top National Drama Festival. And then on page 5, we have Kibinja and Atwoli and Fazul fight over guards' union dues. Apparently, there's a private security regulatory authority headed by Fazul, and they are actually fighting with Atwoli, who is the Kotu chair. And then on page 6, which was very important, something that we have been highlighting over the course of the weeks, Abadea Kahuruko Ndunyo Njeru Road creates drama as many people protest over the road that is supposed to be built through the forest. So you actually have a voice as a citizen. And then we have on page 6, emotional send-off for 7 kin killed at Salama Road accident. Condolences to the family that lost their members. Those are really tragic accidents that happened in Salama, I think 2 weeks ago. And then on Daily Nation, we have ping pong as deaths spike. Hundreds of Kenyans die at home as weeks-long grandstanding between doctors and the government continues. On page 2, we have drama festival winners set to perform for Ruto. And then we have on page 5 how police officers, apparently this police officer used the car in their custody. Apparently they grounded a car for a certain madam. And this police officer said, I'm going to use the documents used for this car that we have grounded to get a loan. A police officer, can you imagine that? And then we have on page 5, bodies pile up in morgues as doctors' strike continues. It's going to bite us really bad. If it continues the next 5 or so days, it's going to be bad in public and private hospitals. Because also next week, the private doctors said they are going to join the strike. So that's going to be a bit of a hell to live in. And then Shifter, how mothers held their families together. This is according to Omar Abdi in a recollection that it titles Beyond Call of Duty. How many people remember the Shifter? Earlier on, we played Kalamashaka. And before Kalamashaka came into the scene, as a hip hop outfit. There used to be something called Mashifta by Kitu Siwa and apparently the other rapper, I've forgotten the name. And Jiwiji, I think so. Yeah, Jiwiji. So I think at some point in the 1960s, there was a bit of some issues in the northeastern area where the bandits were thinking they could carve out that part and then go back to Somalia. So apparently, Mr. Kenyatta, the senior, said, no, we're not going to do that. And then also when Moi took in power, went in hard on them. And then on Business Daily, we have 500 wealthy Kenyans fall off, dollar millionaires hit by instability in property market in NSCs. So there's a bit of a huge instability in properties when it comes to real estate and the Nairobi Stock Exchange. This is according to the improvement of the shilling and against the dollar, which has been steadying over the last 3.5 weeks. It's a 30.35 today, as of today. And then we have inside Iranian attacks and how they were thwarted. And then the one that I felt I should highlight is KRA goes after tax avoiding multinationals. After a song, I'll be back with international news and sports, and then we can go to the meat of our discussion.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
California vitu mzuri, tunaendelea mbele, hakuna cha huzuni hapa, furani tele. Kwa wale wamesahau mziki yangu bado ni genge, kwa wale wanatudharau tafadhali msifanye nicheke. Sitadangana jamani, merudi studio leo na nasikia poa, na najua mnapenda kusikia sauti yangu, kwa hivyo ngoma poa tu ndo tazidi kutoa. Unatulia nini bana, amka tuzitoke. Unapanguza nini bana, wacha jasho imwagike kote. Ataka kuna ukame tunajituliza na maji baridi. Clemo raundi ameniambia nokute na ngoma mbili. Moral wachi wabambe, na mjipandishe juu ka bendera, na mwimbe ngoma ka national anthem.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka.
Anacho watu wengi sana wakule raundini, achieni pia mi ninone. Safari yangu ngepeleka mbio, lakini mama kwenda pole pole. Usifikire nimechoka, niko na nguvu kazi ile ngombe nyona mtaani. Sitachoka kutafuta majani, sitachoka kuendelea na safari. Wacha mguu zangu zitembee, wasanii wote wa nguvu wa pepe. Kimaisha na kila kitu anafanya, ni bidii na utafika pale unataka. Hata nikigonga so bado mziki zangu zitaacha kusambaza. Nimeamka chali yangu na sioni tena ka chalala. Weka mattress kando tunaenda kazi, weka stress kando mambo ikuwe safi. Moral watu wang'are, moral watu watambe, na mjipandishe juu ka bendera, na mwimbe ngoma ka national anthem.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka.
Bidii yangu imelazimisha watu wengi sana waruke. Asali bado nawapatia, tiongeza sukari utamu isishuke. Nikipanda tafana vile roho yangu inataka, sitapotea tena tankione wengine wakitukata. Pilipili ni aje sikuja usaidie kwa kamata, lakini sijui itakuaje tukiwa roga sana. Sijui atajisaidiaje tukiwa bonda sana. Tuwafundisha kupumzisha nyundo na bado weze kuflex mkono vizuri. Kuingia gym kupanua kifua kiasi na kupumua vizuri.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
Jokali hapo na bidi yangu. So bidi yako ndo inakupeleka mahali. I hope umetoka job, umetoka unaenda job, ama umeenda farm, ama ukupandeza hustle, kawe ni self-employed, ama uko mtaani, you're taking care of the business, ama you're just waking up. This is Power Morning Drive. Today we're going to be talking about RITAI. I'm going to tell you about that very particular interesting topic in the next 5 minutes or so when I'm introducing the topic. But before we do that, let's go to international news. Where we're seeing Middle East latest. US believes Israel planning limited strike inside Iran as White House announces sanctions plan. Now, the reports suggest US officials believe Israel is considering a limited and narrow strike inside Iran. It comes as Vladimir Putin calls for restraint during a call with Iran's president amidst fears of an escalation in hostilities. We can listen to the daily episode later on Iran as you scroll through the news. And then, are we heading for the Third World War? Experts give their verdicts. International allies are cancelling restraint after the Iranian barrage against Israel, and Russia continues to make gains in Ukraine. So are we on the cusp of another world war? You can talk to us on Twitter or X and tell us your opinion. What do you think? What do you think? How do you think the war is going to affect Kenya? And then we have Biden retreat to diplomatic tightrope on Israel-Iran. Iran's brazen attack directly targeting Israel on Saturday means that the one thing President Biden most feared and desperately sought to avert in the wake of the 7th of October Hamas attack has happened, an escalation of the conflict to the wider region. And then we have United Airlines says Boeing blowout costed $200 million. And then we have on sports. Yesterday on Tuesday 16th, we have Bolton went with a draw for Shrewsbury, and then Bristol and Cambridge beat Cambridge 1-0, and then Oxford United beat Lincoln 1-0. Peterborough beat Fleetwood 4-1. Portsvale beat Wycombe 2-1, and then we have Barcelona was beaten by PSG, Mbappe to the world 4-1. And then Dortmund, and then Atletico Madrid. Dortmund beat Atletico Madrid 4-2, and that's the highlights of the sports today. We're going to have one song before we get and dive into what RITAI means. Talk to us. The hashtag today is Power Morning Drive RITAI. What do you think RITAI means? I talked about it on Monday.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Leo sina ganji soki leo na kibembeleza kama mtoto. ID Ferrari zimebaki kwa mbosho. Wezi jua niko nunge nikipost photo. Tunawasha kiwash nika tukoloto. Kodo moto inachoma koleta chesa. Niko kwa dance floor zimeshika nikicheza. Vile napewa macho kakipofu na mamande. Mule mbaba pale nitamupandisha pressure. Oops, under the influence. Mix sheng na kizungu ni too fluent. Kolabo ya Kapenga na Lumumba. Tuko mwiki kwa loko after party korunda. Under the influence. Mix sheng na kizungu ni too fluent. Kolabo ya Kapenga na Lumumba. Tuko mwiki kwa loko after party korunda.
Wanajua shinchila ndo kabisa. Vile mina tisha. Simu zina ring. Kila siku tuko biz na shingo zina blink. Naishi dream ya shina kiwa young na mindo tuna dim. Usiulize kai gari na space. Kuna drink kuna haribu kieka chesa. To Mercedes from Kalesa utatesa haina pressure ikwe mwaka kushika mita USD nikwe mali unafikiria niko ya ukweli na rap vitu naona kwa vision ndo ujue mi nanzanga kanisho na mwisho KJZ na kuomba permission si kwa free na wako na mission kwa kaa mimi na ndo manata hizo vitisho zao siski wanovwana kuna ingine kaa hii.
Oops, under the influence. Mix sheng na kizungu ni too fluent. Kolabo ya Kapenga na Lumumba. Tuko mwiki kwa loko after party korunda. Under the influence. Mix sheng na kizungu ni too fluent. Kolabo ya Kapenga na Lumumba. Tuko mwiki kwa loko after party korunda. Unanganya mpya kwa root iko na AC ndani. Donda mali safi yanaka freshi kiplani. Ketchup kwa macho tunaficha na miwani. Kuna maziwa na maji utanipata maskani. Chinchilla na mife miwan killer. Mjusi kafiri ni shadow kwa Godzilla. Makreti ziletwe na tukunywa tubebe. Matamblo usilete tunakunywa kwa pembe.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Ready? Good morning. My name is Omondi Ochuka, and I'm your host today for the Power Morning Drive. I'm having a host today. A very interesting one, yeah? We've never had a guest. Oh, we had a guest last week about TikTok policy in Africa. My guest is called Kili Kibet. What's up? Good morning.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
Mr. Ochuka?
Yes.
I'm great this morning.
How's you been your half of the week?
I'd say it's good. It's great. I'm happy this morning. It's chilly, but yes, here we are. We must build this nation.
Right.
Yes.
Building the nation. Reminds me of the poem.
Yes. From the Ugandan. No?
Yes,
I don't remember the name. Yes.
They're building the nation. So we're here to talk about RITAI, but let me just give you a little bit of a recap. If you go back to the timeline of our nation, wanaitwa wabeberu walikuja hapa wakasema, these guys, we need to colonize them and take their stuff, take them back, repatriate back to the UK or to the Germany, to whatever they were taking them back. And then some people say, no, wait a minute. First of all, we were just living here in our ecosystem. We used to trade, we used to sometimes fight, because people fight all the time, even when you love somebody. Sometimes you fight, kuna quarrel mahali. And then these people just come here and they say, now they're going to take our stuff. And then they said, what do we do? So the field marshals, like if you remember Kina Kimathi, Kina, Dadetu Njeri. So these people came up and said, no, we're going to organize ourselves and send these people back to their homes. That's one of the most fundamental ways in which Kenya came to be, because without that, probably wouldn't have not had independence, or it would have come very much late. So it means that your voice and the way you organize yourself, organized public participation, because it means one individual could not just say, the British have to go back to their country. No. Two people could not do that, even 3 or even 10. So it had to take a mass collective action. This means that people had to come together and sit down and say, we want to create an outfit that represents the nationhood of our countries, because we had so many different communities. We had so many diverse backgrounds. Some were farmers, some were livestock keepers, some were fish keepers, some were traders, all the way from Mombasa to Lokichogio, to all these places that had been demarcated to become what is known as Kenya. So that collective action is what actually brought the first fight against the Wabeberu. So we are looking in terms of, now that we have our own country, we've had so many challenges, and we keep on saying that there is poverty, that there is disease, that there is ignorance, that there is all these things that we need to set in motion to become better, so that our country can move to a better prosperity, so that we can have growth and independence and development. So if we can have this, it means that we have to look back and see, what do we need to do as a people? And that's why RITAI comes in. Because we live in a country that has resources. We live in a country that has a government. We live in a country that has institutions and organizations. We live in a country that has individuals, that are citizens. Some are not citizens. But this is what becomes the nest. This is what becomes the nest of our bird collective, because we say birds of the same feather flock together. We don't fight because we are the same people. We are the same community. We are the same nation that is called Kenya. So what do we do with our RITAI? And that's why we're saying, in our mtanis, in our social halls, in our social media, because we can't always just, it's a digital world now. We can't wish away the take and the navigation systems that are happening locally and on the ground and in digital spaces. So we have to really come together and see, what can we do? What rights do we have as citizens? And how can we be included in the participation and the decision-making processes? And how do we foster and enhance transparency between ourselves? Because if you're not transparent, remember last time on Monday I told you that institutions are not just organizations. They're not just big brick and mortar. Institutions are made by people. I remember even at Asai, like some of our parents have gone to work. They said, hey, daddy, bye. Nenda job up in our NSSF. You know your dad works at NSSF. NSSF is an institution. Some of them work at, let's say, courts. They're judges. Some of them, these are our fathers, they are our mothers, they are our daughters and sisters and brothers. So we can't say that they're separate from us. Institutions are us. And one thing, I think yesterday I was following up very interesting topic in terms of the music in Kenya. And this is the thing we're talking about. When we see things are very isolated, then we begin to miss the point. The way we do our art, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we treat each other is a reflection of our national psyche. And that is what RITAI seeks to correct and enhance so that we can become a better nation, so that we can project ourselves towards prosperity, so that we can become more accountable. So today I have an officer at Pawa 254, Kili Kivet. He's going to take us through RITAI, and we're going to have a very fruitful discussion in terms of what RITAI means. I highlighted it a little bit on Monday, but we're going to go in depth today so that we can understand why are we talking about transparency? Why are we talking about governance? Why are we talking about the budgeting process? And why is it important? Because, we might just be talking about this thing and we don't know why is it important. Maybe perhaps why it is important, but we have to remind ourselves why rights, inclusion, and transparency and accountable institutions is important in our daily lives if you want to go and move forward, a step forward towards prosperity. So we're going to have a song and then come back and dive deeply into the discussion.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi la wenye imani na Mola limeshakita, metuita rabani tukaitika, tayari mikakati nasi kuzisafisha. Maisha mtihani, dunia uwanja wa vita, jeshi la wenye imani na Mola limeshakita, metuita rabani tukaitika, tayari mikakati nasi kuzisafisha. Sasa kanifungwa tena gereza mazingira
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
Susi, all the way from Japan. No. I can't support you credit. Maybe airtime. No. First I have to go to Stanley. I want to get some shoes. No, sorry, not shoes. Footwear. Yeah, let me go and meet somebody there. I think by midday, itakuwa salama. Nilipata, nimekuhata, weka mstani, alafu takamata. Kawaida yangu, wanga sichelewi, anadhani celebre, hanielewi. Kuniona tu, washaanza kuitisha, hata siyo dema, ni vitu zinatisha. Scorpion, lobster, kukupono pia, isitoshe, brand zote za bia. Nikaita waiter kupiga oda yangu, manzi ashasema, wemlete kama yangu. Nilinyamaza, smile zikaanza, nikijua mfuko, haina kitu kwanza. Chonga viazi, if you don't pay that bill. Chonga viazi. Sister uko seti, niko freshi. I can tell by the way you make it. Nikaanza kumshow kuna story na bill. Akawika, hey feel, please I will chill. I have to get back to work. Ati nini? Thanks for lunch and I'll see you around. Akaniacha kwa hoteli huku nimeshangaa. Hey, kule mfukoni mimi sina chapa. Waiter ashajileta, boss wapi do? Nikamwangalia nikamuuliza, so do you take checks? Do you take credit? We don't take checks or credit cards. Chonga viazi, if you don't pay that bill. Chonga viazi. Viazi
again. See ya. If it's your family, mtachunga viazi. If it is you and your spouse, bado mtachunga viazi. Shanta manaka, ostoye, mtachunga viazi. If it is you and your chick, bado mtachunga viazi. Dar, chunga viazi. Uganda, chunga viazi. Nairobi, Mombasa, chunga viazi. Kisumu, Garissa, mtachunga viazi. Chunga viazi. Haya, hata Amerika, chunga viazi. Hata Asia nyote mtachunga viazi.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
That was Boomba Club back in the day with chonga viazi. I don't know kama watu bado wanachonga viazi these days. Watu kila na shori na alafu pate ulenda na 1k exactly vile iko la pate ilikuwa 1200. Chonga viazi bro. The video was very funny, but what we are saying, if we don't put in our best efforts and expression and take part of our rights back, take our freedom back, tunaweza chonga viazi. Actually, to be honest, tunachonga viazi.
Definitely. And thank you so much, Ochuka, for quite an elaborate introduction there. And I think you've brought it really well, right from independence to where we are right now, the old constitution, I would say it, and then the new, you see, people still call it new.
Yeah.
Is
it new anymore? More than 13 years ago.
Yeah, more than 13 years.
Yeah.
It's a teenager,
Yeah, it's a
actually,
teenager,
and we're
actually.
still calling it a baby.
Yeah.
And I think the constitution, that to put into context, is that our constitution is one of the most progressive constitution globally.
Yes.
And it's because of the fact that it places people at the center of every process. And there is that, they start say that if you're not in the table, you're definitely on the menu.
You're being eaten alive.
You're being eaten. So we say that this constitution is placing individuals and institutions and people at the center of it, so that there is no any other process that can happen without involvement of the people. And by this we mean now putting into perspective or into effect the Article 1 of the Constitution,
right,
which says that all sovereign power belongs to the people of Republic of Kenya.
Right.
And Article 2 also places people, talks about the fundamentals of accountability, you see. So how are we as a nation at 13 years later of implementation of this, our constitution? Where are we? How are we? How is our rights being spelled or protected? How are we involved in these processes? Is it effective? Is it efficient? Or it's just rubber stamping?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, just to bring it home, closer home is, you remember just a few months ago, there's a member of parliament, which actually parliament is our oversight body,
right,
and represents the
actually
people.
the very most instrumental part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you would hear a member of parliament saying that they passed the
document was too big.
The famous finance bill.
Yeah, the document is too big. I didn't read it at all.
And saying that even the Bible is so big that the preachers will not read every other chapter of the Bible. Is that representation that we so desire as Kenyans?
No, it is not.
Now, you find that you're going to public participation on a particular document, let's say the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, or the CFSP, as popularly known, and you get a document that is 200, 300 page document, right? So public participation is brought to the people, maybe at the ward level. But then again, that document, you get to interact with the document few hours, or even at the time of participation is
yes,
when you
get to know about it.
with the document.
Right, yeah.
Are you going to say or give your input really? So you see, those are some of the things that we think as Kenyans we need to really, really look into and see how we can foster and promote a right-based society that enables or has a supporting environment that enables citizens to really realize their human rights, access information, increase participation, at the same time have transparent institutions as well as individuals, because rightly as you've placed in the introduction, is this institution also involve you and I.
Right.
How are we? How transparent are we? How accountable are we? So that you see, if we look at this thing as in general, we will miss the point, because you see who occupies these offices that we want to know?
It's us. Yeah.
It's us, the people. Now, how accountable are we? How are we involved in all these matters that involve governance? You see? So in Kenya, we have a shrinking space, so to speak. Civic space is shrinking.
It's eaten day by day.
Every other day,
Right.
every other moment, we see issues coming up in this country. Lack of access to information. There's still, I don't know how to put it, but there's still an issue with accessing public information. You go to an office and request for, say, bill of quantities. For example, a project is being developed and you want to know. Yes.
Yeah.
Getting that document, Ochuka, I'm telling you, might take the whole year before you access that particular public document. You understand? So those are the things that we as Power 254, among other consortium members, whom I'll mention in a few, want to see happening. Like, we want to have a nation that is inclusive. We want to have a transparent and accountable institutions. And that is why the RITAI projects comes in.
Okay.
It's a rights, inclusion, and transparency for accountable institutions.
Okay.
That is the now the acronym RITAI represents that. And it seeks to promote rights-based society that fosters an enabling environment that supports the realization of human rights through increased access to information, enhanced transparency and accountability, citizen participation, again, and in public affairs, and strengthened support systems for human rights defenders in Kenya. So human rights defenders, again, and activists have been faced with myriad of challenges.
From legal fees to threats to actually physical threats
Exactly.
and death.
And death. If you see any activist, they will tell you the trauma that they have. They go through just to advocate for the society. It's amazing. It's just amusing that we still in this country. So this particular project is supported by the Norwegian embassy.
Okay.
Through Uraia as the lead implementer, Uraia Trust.
So there's the partners, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Now these are it's being implemented in a consortia of several partners. Number one, Uraia Trust as the lead organization. And we have Friends of Lake Turkana, popularly known as FOLT.
FOLT, yeah.
Yes, based in Turkana County. We have Hakietu, who are in Mombasa, Kwale, and Kilifi.
Kilifi.
Yes.
All right.
We have Muslim Women Advancement and Protection, popularly known as MWAP, who are based in Lamu and Garissa. And Kilifi, yes, I think, and Kilifi.
Kilifi County, yes.
I think Tana River again, yes. And then we have the Commission on Administrative Justice, the CAJ, or the Ombudsman.
Ombudsman, yes.
Yes, they are part of this particular project.
People, so let me cut you shortly.
Yes,
Many
yes.
people do not know who an ombudsman is. Do give us a bit of a review.
Yes. So Ombudsman or Commission on Administrative Justice is a commission formed under Article 35 of the Constitution.
Right.
Which speaks about the rights to access
of
information.
Yes.
Yes. So particularly what they are doing, or the commission seeks to do, is they are the custodian, not the custodian per se. They seek implementation of Article 35. Number two is they look at maladministration, the issues of maladministration or misuse of office by
several government agencies.
Yes, by government agencies. Or the misuse of office, I think we understand that there are people who use or misuse the office to fit themselves. So these are the people who seek to see that the institutions or public institutions are streamlined and people do not misuse their powers in those institutions.
Okay.
So it's an institutions that oversights.
It's an oversight authority.
Yes.
And also a whistleblower. Well, what many people do not know is you can actually go to the ombudsman's office and lodge a complaint, and they can actually offer support.
They do, absolutely. I think they've been receiving quite number of complaints,
yeah.
and they have robust feedback mechanism as well. That if someone denies you, say, certain information, for example, a public document, and you cannot access it, you can write to ombudsman. They have offices across the country, And most in places that they don't have, because they have regional offices, they have offices or personnel at each Huduma centers in the nation. So that tells you they are almost everywhere in this republic. And this is an oversight office that just ensures that people access information. Yes.
That's very important. So what RITAI seeks to do is to hold a mirror for us.
Yes.
Like we said, the one thing that many people tend to think of is one day we'll just wake up to a very prosperous country. No, we will not. Unless we participate, unless we take up our voices, unless we believe in ourselves. And this goes back to cultural identity. How do we identify ourselves? You see, you cannot say that your home is in chaos and you ruled by violence and fear, and you expect your government or the president to obey laws. No. You cannot stay ignorant, because I remember when I was growing up, we had like a small library, and actually reading was important. And it was just reading. It was in terms of, I remember my grandfather being very vigilant in terms of every other month we would write an essay, and it would be written on a typewriter.
Oh.
You know how it was so tough, and it had to be clean, because every single mess of an ink, it would mess everything.
Wow.
Now, I want you to reflect back on your life. I'm not saying that we will not make mistakes. I'm not saying that you will walk into an office and they will readily give you information.
Yes.
But I'm saying that information is very important. And what kind of information? Right information, because we are living in the age of information dump. There's literally everything everywhere. And this is why RITAI comes in, because we want to process this thing. We package it visually so that you begin to understand that it takes the little step you do in your own household, in your own communities, in your own schools, in your own organizations. That is what ripples to the whole country. And that is what drives us to the next phase of our country. So when we come back, we're going to look at the strategies that RITAI is seeking to do so that we can achieve these objectives that we've talked about. Right?
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Pawa Radio.
This is how we get down. Karibu Nairobi, where we don't play. We got the mirror selling gomba every day. How many killer weekend in my city holding it full all night long? Was it fun to the break of dawn? Shorties walking around, sporting them thongs. 5 in the morning, singing a happy song. No matter what, believe that brother in Nairobi is where you gon' find me. Wilding out and with the rest of Nairobians, valley lounging, skylaxing. Don't matter if you're fucking like pimpin'. This is how we get down. Mama san kwenye zikila nazi na burudika na mboko ya mnazi koi kwa bui bui tuzila tui tui kila siku kuna niamba ya jui jui salam alaikum salam karibia hikaram samaka kupaka pilau mrati ya dam tarbush biryani kuku sikia utam wenye beach party na potezea na mashori na tokezea na watoto wa kimanga wote wamegaga hali mgongoni hina mkono mswaga by the beaches, we love the cool breeze. Holidays, blow hella, wageni waje wapone machis. Land of my birth, Mombasa, mji wa raha na anasa. We utakoma, chakacha na msondo ngoma. Kenya's capital city, Nairobi is the place to be. Sip some pili, gotta go from Shatta, what's the deal? What's the deal? Humming Mercury. Nimetuliza Bella V na Bill CV. Okay, walk behind my cheese and my bread and enjoy the cool breeze.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
My city, my town. That was praised on into a cannibal. I don't know where these guys went, but they used to do really good music, including Prezo. I remember that back in the day when Prezo went to Chagula Tinis na helicopter. Nobody had ever done that. Wild days. So my city, my town. It means we are taking our voice back. This is our country and this is our place. At 20 Mali. I see a lot of people are moving abroad, and it's a good thing because at the end of the day, we can't all get jobs here. But the whole bigger picture is if we can create a conducive environment and prosperity right here, it is possible. It has been done elsewhere. Even the countries that we're going to, they did the same thing that we're actually seeking to do through RITAI. So I want to ask Killy.
Yes.
What are the strategies? So tufanye, like I remember back, it was a very powerless statement by the head of the state, the former president.
Oh, yeah.
When the head of the state says tufanye, sasa unataka nifanye, it shows how powerless most people actually feel.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
what are the strategies and interventions that RITAI is seeking to do to actually achieve transparency and accountability amongst the institutions and ourselves?
Sure thing. So you see, we've identified the problems that we have. Number one, for example, is lack of our inadequate access to information. And then lack of proper public participation, for example, involvement of people in the processes or inclusion in simple terms. You are not included in the whole process of governance. Now, under RITAI and specifically under Power 254, we're saying that we will train community members, or we've been training community members. And in this case, before that, let me just put into perspective where we are working in. So we are working as Power 254, we're working in 3 counties. That is Nairobi, Nakuru and Kajiado. Yes. Okay. And in these particular specific counties, we are working in 1 ward and 1 sub-county. So 1 sub-county, 1 ward.
Okay.
And specifically now, we've been training and engaging 30 community members in each ward.
Okay. Why is it important? Why didn't you just pick all the old county?
We cannot do that because of the limited resources that we have, and in other places or in the other side, we want to have really robust people. You see, containing and having few people who would now become trainers of trainees or who will now become our ambassadors for RITAI project, so that we have a really manageable team. Who are passionate about governance processes.
And they can hold the flag for RITAI. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we're doing this in the informal settlement again, because that is where a lot of issues emanate
do come up. Yeah.
That is where the issues are. So
actually, informal settlement is as a result, sorry to cut, is as a result of lack of accountability and being included. These are the people who get the worst kind of treatment.
Exactly. They are the people who get to bear the most brunt out of all these issues that you're talking about. Now, the first thing is to empower citizens with information. You understand? So that they are talking or acting from point of information, so that they are empowered, they have knowledge on what processes, how the processes are. For example, the documents that they're supposed to participate in, what are they, how do they look like? You see, there are people who even do not know what particular document looks like.
Even the Constitution itself.
The Constitution itself. There are people who never read or even touched the Constitution 13 years later. You understand? So we are empowering these people with knowledge and information through capacity building, or popularly known as the trainings. So we've trained these people. There are around 93 thereabouts in the 3 counties, because you do 60 in each county, 30 per ward, because you are doing 2 wards in a particular county. Now, we've trained them on public finance management. By that, the whole system of public finance.
Nina issue the reason why that is important, because we cannot manage our affairs. And you clearly has told you that one of the reasons why they've not enrolled is, maybe you might be listening to us from maybe Kisumu or Machakos, and you're wondering, kwa nini haja kuja county yenu? One, we are rolling this project and we still don't have much of the resources. So if we can have ambassadors, and if this pilot project can actually work out, then we can see, we can roll it out to Garissa, we can roll it out to Kisumu, we can roll it out to Mombasa. So that is why issues of money is very important. And we also realize that money is at the center of maladministration, actually.
Exactly.
Money, corruption. I know a lot of corruption has so many facets, but at the center of it is how do we utilize our resources?
Exactly.
And money included in it. So go on.
Yes. So as you've rightly put, money is usually at the center of almost everything that we do, or finances in this case. Now, we saw it fit that it's good we capacity build or train these community members on matters to do with public finance management. We have a very robust act, Public Finance Management Act of 2012, which was redone in 2016. And it's very robust and has quite elaborate processes on how these systems should work or how the processes should work. So we felt that it's necessary we begin from that point of information. We inform the people. We train the people and develop their capacities. We also did capacity building on social accountability, because that is another aspect of ensuring that we have accountable or we have accountability eventually amongst our communities or our societies, and particularly our nation. So things to do with social audits, doing accountability initiatives that are geared towards ensuring that our leaders, those who are given work, are accountable, and we can count every shilling that, for example, a contractor is given to construct a road. We can follow that shilling to the latter to ensure that we have value for our money.
Utilized for
because
the value.
Remember, again, all this money that is being used is our taxes. It's our money. So, for example, Ochuka, you give me 1,000 bob and say, go utilize it or use it the way you want. You see, I will not be accountable.
Yeah.
You see, there's no accountability mechanism that you've placed on that particular money. But if you give me that money and say, go buy 1, 2, 3, and bring. So you see, I might come with an inflated costings out of this because of my corrupt nature. And you'd be able to look at, sugar imefika so tano.
Is it true?
Is it true?
Can I check with the market prices?
Exactly.
Right.
So you see, that is accountability. And all this also starts within our society. It starts within ourselves in the society, so that it cascades now going up
into the larger picture.
Into
of the
larger
country.
picture, so that when I occupy that particular office, how accountable am I? How transparent are my processes and systems? You see, so those are the fundamentals of all this. And lastly, we did also capacity building in regards to access to information. Now, looking deeper into what does the Act say, what does citizen rights have in regards to accessing information? So we've done that in the 3 counties that you're working in. Among us now other strategies that the partner organization are also doing in their particular counties of implementation. We've also done, equipped the community members again with knowledge and information and tools to use for social accountability. For example, I had mentioned social audit in passing, scorecards, report cards. Those are tools that citizens can use to hold leaders to account and institutions. For example, monitoring a project, a development project that say it costed, for example, 5 million shillings. So you're going to look at the bill of quantities, again, access the information. The plans, you look at the plans. How was the plans? How was
executed?
Yes.
Did it match what was given in the design?
Exactly, the design. You see, there's usually a cognitive measure that most people use. They say, for example, you're constructing a classroom, an ECD center, for example, that it has 2 classes and an office and store. But this person, because they know that most people will not look into the details.
We'll just build a classroom.
They build 2 classrooms. There's no store.
There's
and
no toilet.
office.
Yeah,
exactly.
No
you
office.
see.
Yes.
So those are things that we want to empower citizens with that information, so that they look at the details.
To the dot of it.
To the dot and the commas of all the details therein, so that they can really do follow the shilling or follow the money and ensure that we have value for the money. So those are some of the interventions that we are employing. We're also saying that under this RITAI project, we will do capacity training and strengthening of the systems around human rights defenders, because we felt that there is a gap now in terms of advocacy knowledge, what approaches do the activists
To
take,
be effective.
effective, and we have to build capacity around those so that we empower these activists to vote for and fight for rights of the Kenyans in a manner that it's a point of information. They have information and knowledge on how to go about all this. When faced with certain challenges, where do they go to? What actions do they undertake?
Right.
You see. So we're empowering them, and also we realize that there's a gap between now the upcoming activists, and the veteran ones. So we need mentorship programs between now the veteran and the upcoming ones.
And
so
how you can reproduce the advocacy values to this younger generation.
Exactly. And you see, with the advancement of the society right now, the systems or the strategies that the veteran activists
might
not necessarily work at this particular time and age. So digital literacy, all these other forms of activism or activists that we empower these activists with. So, and we will bring them in a round table between now, the two, so that they can empower each other,
share ideas,
see what is working, what can be changed, and what not. So those are some of the strategies that we are employing under this particular RITAI project.
Talk about, because one of our partners there is the Muslim women.
Yes.
Talk about the undeserving group. And I talked about it last week, and I said undeserving group it does not mean that these people do not deserve anything. It means they have been marginalized, they have not been included in the decision-making process, and they are usually used during election period. Amongst this group are youths, there are women, there are people living with disability, and of course we may also have certain religious groups. Like for a long time, the Muslims were not put at the center of governance in Kenya. And this has continued for a long, although I think progressively we're seeing more Muslim brothers and sisters from the Muslim community coming up and saying we need to be part of decision making in Kenya. Talk about that. How do you include these voices, these particular voices from these special communities?
Right. Thanks for that particular question. That's a good one. Now, under this RITAI project, our target group specifically are the youth, and we said that we will do 50-50 when it comes to gender, so that we have 50 men and 50% women.
You're very serious on the gender rule, yes?
Exactly.
It's no longer 2/3, it's a half.
Half.
Okay.
And amongst these people will also are involving the persons with disabilities, so that we also have their voices heard. They also get these capacities, because one major factor when it regards to PWDs is the issue of accessing information. You see these documents, for example, that are discussed at the county government, the ADP, Annual Development Plan, will, I think at some point, will have touch the documents at the county government. It comes in for example, someone who is blind cannot read, right? Because it's just papers. Someone, for example, the physically impaired people, you bring public participation to a venue that is that is in first floor, second floor.
And there are no ramps.
There are no ramps. Accessibility of these particular venues. So those are some of the things that we are fighting for, so that we have an inclusive,
public spaces
processes, so that when you're designing your public participation forum, you have in mind how you will include this constituent of people. How are you going to include women? How are you going to include the youth? You see, the language that nowadays youth use
is totally different from... Very different, yeah.
Yes. You see, how are you involving the elderly even? Those people have been neglected, the elderly. They were there too.
The names do usually just come during election. Tutafanya hivi, and then nothing happens.
Nothing happens out of that. So how are we all inclusive to ensure that every other person is not left out? Now, I saw the other day a suggestion by, I think, a physician in Lamu who wants gyms for specifically women, because Muslim women do not usually interact with men.
the public,
And you see they wear those hijab or those so they want an exclusive women-led and women-done gym, so that the women in the coastal region or the Muslim women will benefit from the fitness and exercises that are in so those are some of the issues and voices that we want to amplify and ensure that every other person is not left behind in regards to these public spaces and public processes in this nation. Yes,
Right.
sir, yes.
All right. You've touched on the strengthening capacities. This is just tunasema tu ni kizungu kidogo alafu maybe tuna zoom in tuweke pale mtaani. Strengthening a capacity. We realize as an individual, as a person, mali uliko tu unasikiza, ama when you will be listening to this show later on, you as a person have a capacity. And I know most of us do feel really powerless when it comes to issues of governance or public participation or even politics. And that's one of the reasons that has really caused what is called political apathy. Now, political apathy comes from a burnout. Maybe you have tried to get certain information. Maybe you have tried to be part of these barazas and public participation, but to no avail. And then you decide, mimi sasa issues of politics na siasa, mi sitafanya tena. But you realize that RITAI now is now coming in to strengthen your capacity as a person. And we are coming to the next county very soon. We've started already with 3. So that means we can be able to roll this project out. Hopefully, that is our hope. So we realize that if we can build a capacity for you and realize that you are not as powerless as you think, with the right information. Remember, there's something in the coat of arms. I like our coat of arms because it has the shield.
Oh, yeah.
We call it, as loose, we call it Okumba. We also share it because we are all... I think for most communities do share that shield and
They
the
do.
spear.
Yes, definitely.
That is it actually, even our coat of arms do actually remind you that you have a capacity. You're not powerless. Let justice be your shield and defender. And justice cannot be committed when there's no right information.
Absolutely.
So talk about how you are having particularly, I'm very interested in the selected ambassadors that you have picked, that you're training, that will become future ambassadors for this RITAI project.
Yes.
And then also I think maybe you have selected human rights defenders within these communities. Talk about how you're strengthening their capacities within this project.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Ochuka, for that. Worth noting is that in these particular counties, and specifically Nairobi and Kajiado, we are working with the social justice centers. And most of the participants or the community members we are working with are human rights defenders. So we are empowering these human rights defenders, again, so that they can be able to foster and empower other citizens for that case. Because we cannot all go to, like I'd mentioned, resources and whatnot. We might not be able to go to all the counties or meet all the people. And that is why we have such spaces now, like this radio, that we are able now to speak to the rest of the communities and tell them that it is possible.
Right.
We've done this
already
here.
started,
Yes,
yeah.
we've done this here. It is possible. These are the success stories, and I think we'll speak to it in a few. That what the successes that we've been able to have, even 6 months or 6 months into the project. What are the gains so far? You understand? So we are empowering these human rights defenders and social justice defenders, in this case, through social centers, because it's already an organized group of people that fight for the human rights or fight for the human justices in this republic. So it was easier for us to venture into them and have these people because they're already organized. Now, what can be done extra out of that is ensure that these people now undertake all these social accountability initiatives that we've spoken about, and we're able to harvest results out of this so that it becomes a model kind of a setup that people
Can
from
replicate it from another place,
exactly,
yeah.
residents from Kiamago County did this. You can replicate this in any other
In
place,
Kibra
in
or
any
Kayole,
other place of
yes,
this
true,
republic.
true,
You understand?
true, right.
So that is one of the strategy that we are doing. Another thing that I forgot to mention is we are building a knowledge hub as an organization. We are building a digital knowledge hub. So we are doing this by doing podcasts, educative podcasts on now all these processes that we are undertaking. We are also using now spaces like this radio as one of the tools that will enable us amplify all these issues and all this knowledge that we have. So we have a knowledge bank already that any citizen, anywhere they are, can be able to access all this information at the comfort of their homes or their phones or wherever they will be, because we're doing podcasts, both audio and visual.
Where can they access this repository or archive?
So it's posted under Power 254's YouTube account and Spotify.
All right.
Under Power 254 again.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
And I think it's shared across all the social media platforms. That is on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram.
Okay.
Yes,
Very good.
so
Very good.
it is shared all through so that people can really access all this information. Now, you mentioned about the youth. These are the constituent of people that they're the most faced with apathy.
Yeah.
If you ask me, the most people who have apathy when it comes to political issues, to governance issues, it's the youth.
It's true.
Because they've given up. They've not even started, I dare say, wameanza tu, but wamesha give up.
Most of them have not even voted.
They've
Some
not.
of them are just voted for the first time.
Exactly. And if you ask them, they will not repeat voting because of the lack of confidence in the
their
political,
voice, in the
their
process.
voice.
Yeah, right.
So people doubt and say, hata tukisema, tukipiga kelele, haisikizwi.
Need to change.
But we are here to say that your voice matters. Tufanye tu hivi kidogo kidogo. Trust me, there is nothing that our leaders and especially the politicians fear than an empowered citizen.
An informed citizen.
An informed citizen.
Right. Talk about, at the center of this is resources, because we can't do this thing with resources. And even the reason why we are coming here to have this conversation is we have resources, and we are able to co-create this space for radio so that we can disseminate information and share our knowledge base. Talk about how you are mobilizing resources within your partners and collaborating to achieve some of these objectives. So,
and I think also it's worth mentioning that we are thankful for the Norwegian embassy for these resources that they accorded us so that we're able to now implement this RITAI project. They are doing that through Uraia Trust in Kenya. And so what normally we do is maybe form partnerships with most of the development partners.
Okay.
And again, get resources, say, from other stakeholders in the society. For example, even the private sector can come in and assist us push for this. The other civil society organizations, we can partner with them, disseminate information, you see, because for us, it's all about getting the right information out there and any means that we can employ. For example, we are an art organization that is more, we are so much centralized, focused on art. And we're using this art now to advocate for social change. And then the famous activism comes in, using art and activism. So fusing art and activism so that we advocate for the issues in the society and see the changes come around. So we are partnering with every individual in the system, because you remember a nation is an ecosystem. So we have it's a nest that every other person has their role and supports each other, so that it's like a wheel. You roll the ball, it goes. So everybody has their role across this. So in terms of resources, we do a lot of resource mobilization, proposals, all this whatnot, so that we ensure that this process and these projects prosper. And it's a space that also has its own challenges in regards to now the...
Talk about some of the challenges, please. Yeah.
In regards to resources, accessibility of these resources is still a huge challenge. But then you see, there's no challenge that do not have mitigation measures again. So we are saying we're strategically building networks, and not just networks, some constructive networks, so that we're able now to say with like-minded organizations and like-minded institutions, how can we foster a nation that is empowered? How can we empower Kenyans? So merge our efforts, merge our resources, the small resources that we have, and then we foster. Now, for example, this particular RITAI, we are in a consortium of around 5 organizations. You see? So all of us are pulling towards one direction. So everybody is feeding into this particular direction that we want to see Kenyans empowered in the end.
It reminds me of something very particular during either events or during funerals at home. It's a very big utensil. We call it nyolber. So nyolber is a big sufuria,
Yes.
and the translation is "giving birth is good." The direct translation.
Okay.
It's a very big sufuria. So back in the village, when there is a big event, maybe there's like a wedding, mali, ama kukiwa na funeral, so you'll find a kamade picking hanyolber, another kamade picking kanyolber, then they go to this person. They carry
So everybody carries their
kamtama, yes, and then they go there and then they cook together.
Yes.
That shows the power of solidarity. It means that when we come together, good things happen.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
and I don't know, what would be your response if somebody were to say, maybe somebody is listening to us
Yes.
and saying, I have this CBO in Amta. How would I join RITAI? How would I be participating or be part of RITAI? Because I think one of your key objectives is to try and bring people on board so that you don't just have the three partners working together. You can actually share ideas with these other organizations.
Absolutely, and thanks for that, for pointing out that. So we are so much also bigger on building partnerships and collaborations, because if you're fighting for, say, a particular issue in your place, and we have other partners whom we can join in that fight and ensure that this thing comes out successful, why not? Because like you've rightfully mentioned in that,
Nyolber.
we pool resources, all of us,
Right.
to ensure that, and efforts in this case, so that to ensure that we have, in the end, we all aspire for a beautiful nation, a prosperous Kenya, right? So if you have a CBO or CBO in the counties that we are now working in, we welcome every other person. And just to mention,
How do they reach out?
through our socials,
Okay.
through the website.
Okay.
And just to mention while we were at the onset of this particular project, we did what is called project inception meetings. So in these meetings, we invited all the CSOs in that particular area, the duty bearers or the government officials, everybody whom we thought was a stakeholder, whom we thought that
Can help
them being
further these
involved in this
objectives,
particular
yeah.
project will see the success, or the project will see the light of the day.
Okay.
For example, we had ward administrators, sub-county administrators. These are the custodians of these documents that we will be using to monitor projects, for example, because they are the implementers of the projects at the county level, the ward and the sub-county administrators. They are the representative of the governor at the ward level. You see, so these are the people who would see, who are implementing this particular project. The member of county assembly or the MCA is an oversight person, just like the citizens. And that is why the roles of an MCA and an MP is oversight, representation and legislation.
True.
You see, so that part of oversight from the member of county assembly and the citizen now will oversight this ward administrator
office,
or
yeah.
sub-county administrator, because he is now responsible for implementation of development projects or
within
projects.
this jurisdiction.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you see, when we bring all these people on board, we have the buy-ins of everybody involved in the particular project. And that is so important, because once you have buy-ins, you're winning, because when I come
You're
to
making
you
inroads into the community.
Exactly.
And actually you're having what is called a cultural shift.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you see, another success out of it is that you're able to mend those fences or those issues that the community maybe had with these leaders. Because once they explain themselves on this other end, and are able now, because you see, one thing that people usually fear is exposure, is witch hunt and all that. But we are saying this particular project is not about witch hunt. We are not witch hunting anybody. In any case, we just want to see that whatever resources we have is utilized prudently.
Properly, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just that. Nothing more. We don't have any issue with anybody.
Okay.
And that is why we had that inception meeting in all the 3 counties that we are in, to bring about all these people, the stakeholders, so that they understand. I remember when you were in Kajiado, we had MCA coming in.
Did you ask him tough questions? I hope you did.
And you see,
yes.
Or she came in when we were explaining what the project is about, why we are there, the objectives and all that. And you see, for her, she was prepared for tough questions and being bashed.
Mm.
But only to find out that you're not
This
bashing
is actually
anybody.
including you.
It is a conversation we
Yes,
have.
yeah.
It's an
It's a
engagement.
dialogue.
It's
Yeah.
a dialogue, you see.
Yeah.
So that, by the time she was giving her remarks, she had a changed heart.
Just softened there.
Very much softened heart. Because
Mm.
the change, you see, we are not bashing anybody. We are not
Mm.
pointing fingers.
Mm.
We're just here to dialogue and engage and see the few resources or the less resources that we have, how is it being used?
Mm.
How can we further utilize these resources? Because we also need their input in all
True.
this. Because
True.
they are the oversight. They are the leaders. I'll give you another example is of when we do these social accountability initiatives, and specifically now the scorecard. Scorecard is about scoring
Deliverables
services.
against what was
Yes.
promised.
So now services,
Mm.
service provision,
Mm.
say in an hospital, let's say a dispensary, right? So you scoring the services provided in this particular facility against the norms or what should be there.
Mm.
You understand?
Standard,
And it's all
yeah.
about the feelings again. How did you feel when you
walked in,
You
for
walked
example,
in.
yeah.
How was the reception? How was the interaction between you and the medical staff, and even the subordinate staff?
Mm.
All that.
Mm.
How was it? So you see, you give scores.
Mm.
You find out that, for example, one particular facility could say, citizen would say the facility is usually dirty.
Mm.
It has that. And when we go to this facility, we feel more sick.
Mm.
Because anyway, place where it is dirty.
Yeah, you're not certain you're going to get best treatment out of it. Yeah.
It is an hospital. Now,
Yes.
on the other side, when we speak to the service providers, they say, number one is the reason why this hospital is dirty is because the citizens themselves or the patients, when they come, they litter everywhere. Number two, they have shortage of staff. Number
particularly
three,
the janitors. Yeah.
number three, there's no constant supply of water. So they cannot be able to clean
Clean up
maybe
properly,
on
yeah.
sessions, maybe in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. You see,
Mm.
so you see the kind of conversation and the engagement that we have. So we have issues arising from the community. We now have issues also being
the
passed
facility
from the
itself.
facility itself.
Right.
Now we match these two sections. We
You
have
come with a synthesis of a solution.
Exactly. An interface meeting.
Mm.
We come to an interface meeting where we bring the community members and the service providers. So everybody says their issues, and then we say, what is the solution? For example, the service providers would say they will procure bins.
So that there's no littering anymore.
There's no littering. Number two is that they will write to the relevant, say, because we will bring them also into the meeting, say the CEC or the director from water and sanitation of the county there. So they say, kindly see how water can
Be
more
supplied to
water,
this
or
facility.
buy maybe reservoir tanks,
Yes,
for
yes.
example, to have rainwater being stored, storage water, so that there is usually clean environment. Number three is they'll write to the minister, to their employer, so that they can get extra to maybe people to do the cleaning. Now, what is the responsibility of the community members in this case? They ensure that they don't litter, they use these bins appropriately. You see? So you see, you've brought about the issues that are faced in the community to an end, to a good ending, because everybody wins in the end. The medical staff would say they don't have enough medicine. Who is supposed to procure medicine? It is the county government through the KEMSA. You see, now you streamline all this. So everybody knows where they're supposed to do, what they're supposed to improve on, and things fluidly goes.
That's a very interesting thing, because it now allows us to zoom out into the country.
Yes.
Because we can now close our eyes and see there was a problem in this facility. Imagine this facility is Kenya.
Yeah.
Kenya is dirty. Kenya is very dirty by the soil is very dirty, like
Yeah.
an exhaust fume somewhere, Mahali.
Yes.
And we realize we don't want to keep on blaming each other. Pointing fingers is not going to help. And if, in fact, the only finger we should point is towards ourselves, because at the end of the day, we are all capable of this ill. So we have to look at what have I participated, what is my contribution in this ill?
Just
That
to
is
cut-
the very honest conversation.
Just to cut you short, Ochuka.
Yes, yeah.
when you're pointing a finger, for example, like this, right? I'm pointing at you. How many fingers is pointing at you? Only one,
Only
right?
one.
This one is pointing to God.
Yeah.
So we say Majaliwa. But the remaining three
is
is
pointing
pointing
towards you.
me.
Towards you. That's a very interesting fact. So if you zoom it out, you realize that you have a responsibility as a person in your own personal space. And then when we come together and have a dialogue, you realize that everybody has a role to play.
Exactly.
And if these roles are played, then the nest becomes better, habitable. So when we come back, we're going to look at the prospects and opportunities under RITAI and in our individual spaces. We're going to have 2 songs, and then we'll come back and tie for the RITAI project.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
You have to flip it. Twende biashara boss. Okay. Mina biashara, close in tada, flow so tight as Chris Cantata, young in pala, ass like Prada. Na kama wezi shikanisha basi weni fala, basi weni fala. Mina enda pale kila kitu dola. President Moi Kibaki wanahola, naonesha kidole pole. Tubo kubwa kama Rick Ross. Pesa zetu munafanyia what? Kazi kwa vijana, pesa kwa maboss. Wacha kuwa floss. Ati wasanii wata get ganji 2030. Nitakuwa 54 made under that. Yes, bere tamo huko ashati ya kaki, check karatasi kareke. Yeah, kareke. Mini STL, the bigger, the better. IMC on the mic, come tester. He be a shara, ni ka M-Pesa. Wesen, tarisi. Na ka usend, sikuski. Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara.
Biashara niko busy na mziki ndo wanigwizi. Na flongine maji utadhani gidi. In other words, niko tena jaba. Junilisikia pia kukula main swag. From the business land, Nairobi to be specific. Crew cat popos, not changa illicit. River Road, baby, that's where you're gonna find me. I be getting my money fast, calling people hadavani. Niko na M-Pesa cooperative, niko na equity. Pesa ni mingi nimevisha, so many na publicity. Paparazzi piga mapicha, then tuzione BPC. Dashika mamita, busy mejipa, juu nimesign na DTP. Be a shower, baby, what it do, Miss Stella? I'm the man with the power, so I make you feel like Cinderella. And I'm making the shower, so hope you got your umbrellas. Always be a shower, baby, Stella, go ahead and tell him.
Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara.
Nikiwa na STL, suna geography wanikali. Jumupenda kuchiugamu, unaweza nipata hali. Assalamu alaikum, walaikum salam. Mi upenda M-Pesa, pesa pap na M-Shwari. Hasla mbayo pildo kama ndizi. Mi pick and peel, uyu boy sini mjuisi. Easy, flow cheesy kama tiba. Naziko on point ka Abdu Badida. Biashara leta pesa, weka dough kwenye mkeka. Mina leta heka flow, natika Professor Christoph ndo anatesa. Kila time weka pressure, pima na tape mesha. Kula Ethiopia na poebesha. Anapenda rose na yesi amba. Ni kama vindio, uneza dhani ni mkamba. Biashara ndo miulamba. Pesa imenifanya mweupe squeezy ka pamba.
Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
Sisiri, maisha inatubamba sisiri. Sisiri. Mungu mina nashukuru pale umetufikisha na blessings zote umetupatia. Kufika miaka 30 si mchezo, kufika hapa mali tumefika si mchezo. Na kumka tukifupa mpaka mguu inauma, tukikula sukuma mpaka tumbo inafura, ama tukikaa boss babu ngome imetushika. Hiyo ni sauti yangu kwa CD ya burudia, hatuna mashine alipia studio time, remote kona tours ya kurekodi wacha ni run. Hizi vocals na sound safi, time kuisha na mixing ngoma mtaani. Mungu ametubless kuna keyboard yetu sahi, ametubless kuna studio yetu sahi, ametubless na zisimamia sahi, na ametubless zaidi na masikio watu mtaani. Wewe si unajua vile kufurahisha watu ni ngumu, kwa hivyo kabla tutenge ngoma nashukuru Mungu na familia zetu kutupatia nguvu na kusimama nyuma yetu kwa industry sumu. Tuna hustle jama chuki ya nini, tunajaribu jama mangumi za nini. Mapromote wengine ndio wako na njaa, kwanza busi wanavuka boda kajagwa. Haina noma mkumbuka mvumilivu, akijiamini sana yule mbivu. Wanasema kope toko na sisi, account za nyemelea amili. Maisha inatubamba sisiri, sisiri. Maisha inatubamba sisiri, sisiri. Siringi, sisiri, siringi. Hey, tuwa tulipata D- kwa life tulikuwa less, God akatupa B ikawa blessing. Jeans body Marvin walidhani kwa kichwa Marvin. Tuko Ranger 4.6, shati imelaliwa na crucifix, shati imelalia God within. Hatujavunja law isipokuwa ya gravity, tuna fly nika tuliokota fedha moja kwa wing ya Angel Gabrieli. Price ya mimi Bill Gates na bagain, nina take msalaba damu stay nipasuke mara mbili. Hey, hey, sasa sisi, sasa vipi, sabla swingi. Cheka kipara kingia kinyozi, nikanywele inamea kwa kichwa pekee. Warembo wana breathe wa nyingi, wana extra rib, si excuse nikifail. Na come through times 2 nitahaku, nasiati kagagbo wa Ivory Coast. Sisiri, sisiri, siringi, sisiri, siringi. Maisha inatubamba sisiri, sisiri. Maisha inatubamba sisiri, sisiri, siringi, sisiri, siringi, sisiri, siringi, sisiri, siringi.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
So I don't know what's I don't know, maisha na kubamba maluliko, I don't know, but there's been some little relief from the last 3 days. They're saying steam imeshuka chini ama ni so, but I don't think something that economists call purchasing power.
Yeah.
So we find that the shilling has improved, yes. Nini bei ya mafuta pia imerudi chini, but the purchasing power, watu wanasema kuna do.
You see, I think when it comes to economy, at least the few that, or the small economies that I know is, if at all we are doing good economically, cost of living should at least be reflective of that.
Yeah.
Because I suppose, if for example we say shilling im again, what that
does it reflect on the food prices?
Does it translate to my day-to-day activities? You understand?
Yes.
Am I able to now get cheaper products? But on the other side, I think I must admit that the reduction of some quarters of the economy or the prices is
it's
good.
A good move.
It's a good move. So for me, I usually give credits where it's due.
Right.
So if it is good, it's good. If it's not, hakuna kupaka rangi.
So that was Siri by Jokali and Giuliani. Earlier on, we had Biashara by STL.
Yes.
So we want to tie RITAI. I like the name RITAI. First of all, RITAI, because the thing is, there are certain shoelaces we did not tie back in the day.
Yes.
And that is what actually is tripping us, and we are falling because of them. There was a time, I'm
The
very
loose
sure,
shoes.
watu wameona hii meme sana. Wameona meme budako akidance kwa disco back in the 80s and 70s when they should have been more proactive in public participation. Na kubai mashamba. Walikuwa madisco. So the thing is, the thing is, this is just the brutal fact of it. We do not need to be brutal, but then again, we need to remind ourselves that if we do not take part in our decision-making processes day in, day out, then we are contributing to the larger difficulties that we're experiencing as a country. So we want to look at the opportunities that and the prospects that are available for the RITAI project. We want to look at what are the long-term goals, because at the end of the day, these wards that we have selected in these 3 counties, they are representative of the greater nation.
Yes.
So what do you think as RITAI partners? What are your long-term goals? What is the vision? What is on the vision board?
So thank you so much, Ochuka, for that particular question. And just quickly to address that or answer that is one major broader goal is to see empowered Kenyans, because even the name itself seeks to empower Kenyans with knowledge and information and systems, as in the whole Kenya is empowered. That is the broader goal. Now, but for us specifically is to see how these citizens now move from this setup of usually capacity being built every now and then, because people go to schools, they are taught this, people go to hear or have this information from any quarter of the system. But then what so that
do
we
we do
answer
with
the
that?
question,
Yeah.
yes, so what? You've learned about this, so and so what? You see? So now that brings us to now having a long-term goal, as you've rightly put, or a sustainability mechanism.
Right.
Moving from this one, what now next? So in particularly the counties that you're working in, we've said that we will be leaving most of these things to the community members, so that the project is owned
by them.
For
It's community
them,
centric.
by them, for them. You understand? So that even some of the forums that we are undertaking we are leaving them to the community members.
Okay.
So they organize their forum, they invite their leaders, they invite anybody else that they want to be on the forum. They do the outreach programs on their own. We'll just be doing oversight, for example. We'll just doing sports checks. And when I go to that particular county or ward, I don't have much to say. I'm just looking at how the things are going, the processes are flowing, or the meeting is going, so that we build these people to be self-sustainable. We build the communities to be self-sustainable and see the need why they need to participate. They need to have these engagement meetings with their leaders. Because it's one thing to be blaming a leader. What are you doing as a citizen as well? You see, we have a nation that usually we love blaming, and it's the
Yes,
easiest
we
way,
do.
the easiest route anyway,
Yeah.
out of any problem.
Even
Just
leaders
blame the other
themselves
person.
do it a lot.
Yes, I mean, as a nation, sorry to say that, but yeah, we are badly on that side.
Yeah.
So, or we are doing good on that side of blaming. We are doing good, actually. So you
You're
see,
doing good badly on that side, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So you find that what we're doing is we're ensuring that these citizens take up these advocacy measures, take up this or own the process, so that once RITAI, the next 3 years, Power 254 RITAI will not be on the ground. You understand?
Can roll on its own
They
wheel.
can roll. They can do all these things on their own because we have already empowered them. For example, Biashara Ward in Nakuru County. Yes. They've set up a CBO out of this RITAI team.
Oh, you're really touching on achievements already.
Exactly.
Go on, yeah.
Exactly. You understand? So they've registered a CBO known as Voice 032.
The code for Nakuru County.
Code for Nakuru County. So they are using it to amplify their voices.
Okay.
They are working with the MCA, with the ward administrators. So you see, we're already setting up or brooding a baby now out of all these particular projects.
Okay.
You see, in the next 3-5 years, God willing, that particular CBO would be rolling out, will be doing amazing things in Nakuru County.
Or doing even inter-county exchanges. Yeah.
Exactly. You see. For example, another example is places like Nairobi here in Githurai and Kiamaiko, where we are in. So you see citizens are pushing for issues in their society. They are now attending public participation forums in numbers. And not just attending, they are giving their views. Because one thing that we want to empower citizens and look at it in retrospect is that how effective is this public participation forum? Because it will only be effective and meaningful
while you're there.
And you're able to give your view, and that view is heard actually, or the input you're putting is placed. You understand? Now that becomes a meaningful participation. Now, what are some of the issues that were faced that deterred this meaningful participation was accessibility of information.
Mm.
Timely accessing this information.
Yeah, because sometimes you get this very important document like the CSVP, FP, and you get it when it's already passed.
Exactly. Or you're getting it an hour to.
Yes. So it means you
just
can't
flip
participate
through,
to it.
You're just flipping through papers.
They say, let's pass it.
300-page document.
Mm.
You're just going through it.
Mm.
People are saying, let's start to page 60.
There's
You're
no
still
intimate
in 20.
engagement.
You're still in page 20.
I see.
And people are in 60. People are moving. You see. So we are building this society so that they are able to interact with these documents earlier. They do pre-public participation forums, looking at the documents, having or scrutinizing, critiquing it, so that when they are going to this public participation, it will only be presentation of their issues.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, that is very constructive. Alternatively, they can do memorandum.
Yes.
You see, there is alternative
avenues.
So they can do memorandum, even through their member of county assembly or their member of parliament now, the oversight person. Because after all this, the documents are taken to county assemblies or the National Assembly. Yes, for discussions and consideration. So if you put across all this through now the effective ways, for example, that memorandums, they're able to be taken into consideration because... And another thing is, if you organize yourself, we're telling the communities, let's get organized. Unity, there is power in unity. Let's organize ourselves. You see, so that we have power. We have a unified voice out of this so that nobody will shun you because it's only you, Ochuka, who is coming to speak. But when we go as a team, definitely...
You have a more bargaining power for you.
Yes. So... that I would say is some of the successes because we've seen people going to these public participation forums, giving their views, even looking at now the other documents to see if they are aligning with what, because there should be some alignment on the document side, that the 5-year plan speaks to the 3-year plan, speaks to the 1-year plan, you see. So all the plans are speaking to each other. So they are looking into it. We also... in the process of doing analysis of the Auditor General's report, which was recently released.
It was 2 months ago.
Yes, it has highlighted a lot of issues in the counties specifically, because there's a lot of misuse and issues of funds, a lot of issues that the Auditor General has specifically highlighted. Yes, so those are some of the things that we want to empower the citizen. They will be looking at this audit reports because they may not be able to do financial audits, but they can do the social audits.
Right.
So out of the social audit now, tie with the financial audit have a voice now, because you see, once when you do a social audit, social just from the term society, so social society. So it is just us looking at say development project being implemented. How is it implemented? Do we feel there's value for money? Are we involved in the implementation and all that? So that when we have this report, we can tie now with the Auditor General's report, because Auditor General does the nitty-gritties and the financial. They will tell you these prices were inflated, or because you will not know yourself as a normal, as a common mwananchi, you might not know. But now the experts will tell you, hapa pesa ilivujwa. But because you already had done that and seen the process or followed the process, you can easily tie the two and say, yes, we saw this. Because...
And even have a report that we made.
Tuko na report ndio hii, hata picha ndio hii, because it's an evidence-based report. So you say, hata cracks ndio hizi ziko kwa wall, because...
And it's barely a week old.
Yeah, because zile material walitumia ni substandard. So we have cracks, we have these, we have the paint peeling off a month into commissioning of the project. So those are some of the things we are looking into, and we are saying we're fostering these communities to own all these processes, so that by the end of the 3-year period, tuko na society ambayo inajisimamia.
Okay.
They can do their things on
it's
their
sustainable
way.
And
another thing is we are looking into now onboarding more partners into this, so that there's sustainability. After the lapse of this particular period or a midway, we have other people joining us, so that we all go
together.
We
Again,
all roll
standing
this
together.
Wheel, yes. We all roll this wheel together. So hata tukitoka, another organization maybe
can pick up the baton. It's
yes.
a relay.
It's a relay, exactly. So we see these societies moving forth.
There's something we talked about off air, and it's something that many Kenyans miss completely on. You see, most of these very advanced societies
Yes.
are very proactive. Proactive ni kizungu tu kubwa, but the idea behind it is that you have to take action. You have to be part at the center of things. And mostly Kenyans, after elections, they just sit back, like the way I've now sat back on my chair.
Yeah.
So you expect the government is going to run. And that's not how governments run, even in America, in Japan, in Germany, wherever you go in these very advanced societies. They do not become advanced because they have better systems. Of course, that's one of the things. But they become advanced because they center themselves. They own up to their nation. And everybody is very sensitive to accountability. Somebody would say that I went to job late. I can no longer occupy this space. Because time and the time that you're supposed to play your role to the citizen or to public service is very important.
Yes.
So people have a good sense of responsibility and a good sense of accountability. And so if we do not speak up, if we do not express ourselves, if we do not be part of the process, you just don't elect a government and say that they're going to do it. By nature of human beings tend to pilfer stuff when they're not watched. And that's why our voices is kind of like our own care. Because sometimes, for example, I might be having an idea, and if I don't run it by Kili, I might go with it, and it need a little bit of a tweak, and then improve the whole idea altogether.
Sure.
You understand? But if I went on it on my own, then it fails. It fails your input. And this is why we are saying public participation is very important, because we're not saying that whatever somebody does is going to be wrong all completely. Sometimes that might be the case, but most of the time you find that it might only lack your participation, your voice in it, and your accountability in it. So do not let leaders usually get away with a very dim, like a dimly lit citizenry. There's no light, hakuna nuru. This is what is happening in our country when there is no power, when there is a blackout of information, because you do not know what is supposed to be done under what category. You don't know what the provisions are given under acts or even the Constitution.
Sure.
So you are groping within the dark, and this is what allows the kind of authoritative, authoritarian regimes that we are seeing. Somebody can just blatter something, and because we know we won't hold them accountable, and somebody can just stand in a funeral, because funerals are some of the commonly used platforms for MCAs, particularly in the grassroots. They stand in the funeral and say, kulikuwa na bursary, na ujui bursary ilitolewa pesa ngapi, na how many students benefited out of that bursary. You understand?
Absolutely.
But if you ask questions, they said, okay, wait a minute. There was how much money was released? 8 million. Okay, how many students were given? And then you follow up, because it's very easy nowadays. You can actually go to a school and then say, how many students received bursary in this particular school? How much money did they receive? In other words, you're taking part of your responsibility. You don't just farm, don't just go open your duka and go about your day as if everything will just be okay. It takes your public participation. And this is also how you tailor in, because there might be a road that has been not so good over the seasons. And you as a citizen, you use that road every other time. But the government is thinking, maybe let's build a social hall.
Yes.
And yet you are farmers, you rely on this road. So the priority in this community is this road and not the social hall yet.
Sure.
We're not saying the social hall is not very important. It is important. But as of now, maybe the road is important. And not just the road, you're looking in terms of, okay, this road was supposed to be carpeted. How much cement was bought? What was the contractor? What was the quotation by the contractor? So you're looking at the nitty-gritty so that you understand that you can be part of the process and you can line the project and you can line our cultural shift. So we're going to have a bit of a tie-up as we wrap up the show.
Yes.
How do we creatively make RITAI a success project?
So yeah, thank you very much for that. And like you've said again, we can never underscore the need for citizens to participate.
True.
Never. Because we are the people, we are the beneficiaries and the users of all these systems and all these processes. So that we are able to prioritize what we need as
Very
a society,
true.
as a people. Now, you've asked about now the creativeness or how do we propel this particular project further. Is in some sections, we've seen that knowledge retention is an issue, because one of the challenge was retention of the knowledge. So we are trying to see how to incorporate art into it, because we see
Art embodies a certain long-term
exactly
effect.
exactly
Yeah.
like now people watching a drama
A short film,
or a short film or a clip skits, they will tend to remember much
that more
and more practical things are happening in the ground.
Right.
You understand? Because this English jargon and all that might be not be the people's consumed every day. But once you act this out, you I say you localize it to each community, you're able to have a huge retention of information and knowledge. Number two is we are now encouraging the citizens, encouraging citizens so much that they have dialogue meetings. Because again, to avoid that issue of finger pointing, the issue of leaders looking at citizens, come on our bash, citizens looking at, you see the blame that goes through.
The ping-ponging, yeah.
Exactly. So we are encouraging citizens to have these constructive engagement meetings with their leaders so that they're able to hold accountable these leaders actually, and in an effective way, in a constructive way, so that in a meaningful way that hakuna mtu anafeel amebashora, hakuna mtu anafeel they're being undermined by the other party. So we are bringing all this now, use of art, so because every community has unique challenges and unique issues. So we're tailor-making the project to ensure that it fits each and every community. So that every community owns it and feels, because like I mentioned, that retention rate, the ability to now, or the passion. You see, people have to grow passion out of this. People have to see successes. Some people will just wait for until you succeed. They will not see the
start to
bigger-
identify with it.
Exactly. So we are building these societies, and we are saying that with the support of also stakeholders or the organizations the partners that we have, we co-create with all these people. We co-create with everybody so that we move together in this train. Everybody anachangia kwa every nini train. So we all move systematically and see through that Kenyans are actually empowered.
Right. I liked one word or two words about all discussion, the civic space. Civic means you as a citizen. So you have a right and you have a responsibility within a particular community. You can play it and you need to play it, and it is ongoing. We're not saying that we will stop someday and say our country is now completely fixed. The fixture of our country depends on what input we make, the kind of ideas we give it, how do we direct it to a certain trajectory. So you as a citizen has rights, and you need to be included, and you need to participate in holding accountable not just leaders and institutions, but also yourself. I had one quote that I want to wrap up the show with. Margaret Mead was a social anthropologist, and she said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has."
The only thing.
The only thing. You have to be committed and you have to be thoughtful. When you're thoughtful, you express your ideas. And we are not small. We are 50 million now. And in mtaani kwako, you are not very small. You have a large group of people who share the commitment and they share the desire to make our country prosperous. And that is what we need to do through RITAI. And even when RITAI will no longer be a project anymore, we shall have assimilated and involved other people on board so that it is owned up within these communities, and then it becomes a Kenyan affair. That is how we drive our nation to prosperity, and that is how we hold ourselves accountable and move towards a prosperous future. It has been a pleasure hosting this show today. My name is Omondi Ochuka, and this is Power Morning Drive. My host today was Kili Kibet. How was the show?
The show was amazing.
Right.
The show has been amazing, and I thank you so much, Ochuka, for
Thank you.
hosting.
Yeah.
And I think we need more of this so that we are able to now empower citizens. Again, the power of people can never be underscored.
There you go, the power of the people. You and we, the people.
Yes.
Bye until Friday. See you.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Mateso ya roho umenivunja moyo, umenitesa kanifanya nalia, wangapi kati usipofata jenga kuta, basi ukuta hiyo ishabomoka. Umenifanya nitabike, umenitendea upeke, siwezi tena, wanifanya nawika. Sijui kwa nini najipata narudi. Nina ng'ombe wangu wa kidume mpaka asukumwe. I know he's a liar, but I can't help myself. I'm going back, and just don't ask me why. Nitawezaje kumweleza roho yangu lishapenda mateso haya yananihangaisha.
Pawa Radio. Tune in and power up.